We're going to be driving this 2016 Chrysler 300S. But first, we have some undercover footage from the Brett Jackson auction for all you Chrysler, Dodge, and other Mopar lovers. We'll take a quick look at that and come right back. Every year, the world-famous Brett Jackson car auction takes place, and we're going to give you an exclusive preview of some of the merchandise they'll have. Then we have an original 1970 Challenger TA with a 340 6-pack, like so. The 1970 Barracuda 340 6-pack. Can't miss that paint job. Nice. And a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda with a high output Dodge Viper V10 engine. Now that's an engine swap. Dodge Neon owners, eat your heart out. What's this DeLorean doing in here again? Get it out of here. So let's get out of the 1970s and fast forward to 2016 again and get on with the car test. Before we start, let me give you 4 good reasons for purchasing the Chrysler 300 series. Number 1, the design was based on a Mercedes-Benz platform. Even though a bit dated, was a good one to begin with, and still is. Number 2, the vehicle's been around for about a decade, so the factory's had a lot of ability to do some refining and improving. Number 3, there are a lot of large American-type sedans on the market still, but this is the only one that has a combination of a V8 power and rear-wheel drive. I can't think of any others, can you? Then we have the starting price of $32,000, which is a bit more than the Dodge Charger cousin, but still a good deal for a vehicle in this class. This one had some luxury and performance goodies, so it jacked the price up to $43,000. Still not bad. This car comes offered in 4 configurations: the Limited, the S, the C, and the Platinum. I'm not going to cover all the specifics because the video will be too long, but what you really have to know out of these 4 packages is which suspension to get, because it can make the difference between a smooth, comfortable ride and a rather firm ride. The base Limited has the standard suspension and 17-inch tires, or optional 19-inch tires. This 300S comes with 20-inch wheels and a slightly tuned sport suspension. But on the S, they have a performance package. Gives you the high-performance suspension and high-performance 20-inch tires. Now it does increase the handling and cornering ability, yes, but it's a very stiff ride. If you're looking for luxury, you might want to avoid spending the $100 for this, even though it's a good deal. The Chrysler 300 Platinum Edition has the very expensive Xenon headlights. Am I pronouncing that right? Maybe not. All the other models have the standard halogen headlights, like we have here. The sun's gone down, so we'll take the headlights out and see how they perform. Here we have the low beams on a wall 100 feet away. More than adequate. Go to high beams. Spread's pretty good. A little on the weak side on the edges, but it will do. Here we have the high beams on a building 300 feet away. It does reach. There seems to be a lot of dispersion on the left and right, but hey, it works. So why complain? And low beams barely reach out. Overall, headlights work. No serious issues. This brings us to the engine choices. The standard engine is a 3.6-liter V6. Putting out 292 horsepower, rated at 19 to 31 mpg. You can order a performance exhaust system that boosts this to 300 horsepower. You also get dual exhaust with that. For $3,000 more, you get the 5.7 V8 Hemi at 363 horsepower, gas mileage rated at 16 to 25 mpg, or 19 combined. I've been driving this for a week and getting 19 to 20 combined. More than reasonable considering the power, size, and weight. The SRT package with the 6.4 liter, 485 horsepower is no longer available in this country. You have to go to Dodge Charger or Challenger to get that. The SRT is available only overseas, mainly to lucky rich Arabs. If you're an aggressive driver, like doing burnouts and putting the gas pedal down to the floor to see what the car will do, I guess you're better off getting the high-performance suspension, but as I said earlier, it does provide sort of a choppy ride, so take your pick. The styling of this vehicle is very good looking. You get lots of compliments, but I did have one minor complaint. I mean, when you fork up the extra $3,000 for the Hemi, well, watch these Dodge clips and you'll see what I mean. When you purchase a comparable Dodge car, such as a Challenger or Charger, and you order the V8 Hemi, the Dodge boys give you an RT emblem, so all your neighbors will know you forked up the extra $3,000 for that V8 Hemi. Big spender. Sometimes they even have it embedded on the seats. Let's not forget the RT racing stripes. And last but not least, the Chargers and Challengers, which occasionally have the Hemi emblems or decals on the hood, often with a hood scoop. Bottom line, there's really no way to tell the difference between a V8 or V6 vehicle on the Chrysler 300. Some people are bothered by this, some are not. I'm just mentioning it because that's the way it is. And last year I got some emails from people saying, hey, you can tell it's a V8 because of the dual exhaust in the back. No, because you can get the dual exhaust on the V6 if you pay a few bucks more. So that doesn't fly. So enough about the outside, let's take a peek at the cabin. In theory, you can fit 3 people in the rear seat. In practice, you really only can fit 2 because you have the transmission hump from the rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive system. Yes, it is available with all-wheel drive on the V6. So it's not very comfortable to sit in the middle. But a small price to pay for a good rear-wheel drive car. I'm not complaining. Then again, I'm not being a passenger either. I'm driving. Chrysler keeps updating the interior, and it doesn't look very good on the video because they sent me one with a, well, dark blue and black interior, which looks like a taxi cab. Brighter colors look nicer. And because of the rear-wheel drive, it takes up a lot of trunk space, but how much stuff do you really haul anyway? There's a spare tire under there, by the way. There's a nice gauge cluster. Very simple to use, climate controls. Also have some knobs for the stereo. Simple volume, simple tuning. No complicated My Touch or speech stuff, none of that nonsense. Simple stuff that works. This glove box looks huge, but it's really not. That bag in there is only about 2.5 inches thick, and every time it doesn't really want to close unless you slam it. Looks big on the outside, small on the inside. Here's the knob shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission. Size center console, which makes up for the small glove box. One of my biggest pet peeves on cars are auto-dimming mirrors that have no disconnect switch, because driving in heavy city traffic at night with a blacked out mirror is basically stupid. I didn't see a button on here, but did a little research and found out that if you press the control button, you have to do it on the dash here. Mirror dimmer, here you go. A simple button on the mirror would have worked better, but at least you can turn it off, and that's what counts. The only real serious complaint I had about this car, well, this isn't really part of the interior, but it does involve getting in and out of the cabin. So I'll bring your attention to this down here. It's what I call the dirt shelf. It rained last night. We have all this mud and sand on here, and every time I step out of the car, it gets on my pants. Not good. And true story, last night I went to a birthday party. I had some females with me wearing white slacks. Their slacks weren't quite that long. I told them to watch stepping out of the car. They didn't listen. And they had this crap all over their pants and weren't too happy. You don't want to be around a female that's not too happy. It makes your life miserable. There's no reason for this to be here. It's really nothing but hollow plastic anyway. But it is the only serious gripe I had about the vehicle, and I'm going to start carrying a bottle of Windex and paper towels around so I can clean this stuff off. I just haven't had the time. But it's there. We're testing the car, so we have to mention it. But it's not a deal killer. It's not going to stop me from buying one of these. It's time to do some test driving, and since we're still in the cabin, I'll bring your attention to the sport mode, which livens up performance a bit, and the traction control button if you like doing burnouts to impress your buddies. One thing I've noticed while driving the 300 is the power steering feel is basically lousy, has no feel whatsoever. Dead. That's the bad news. The good news, that brings us back to the sport button, which improves steering feel, throttle response, and transmission shift points. I think we'll be driving in this for most of the test. I've driven quite a few of the V6 vehicles. Don't underestimate that motor. 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds. Up to 30 miles per gallon on the freeway, cruising at 65 miles per hour. It's an excellent engine. But with the Hemi doing 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds, you know, this is the one we really want. Nice strong brakes too, by the way. Well, I parked the Chrysler here last night and I can't find it, but what is that behind the tree here that fell out of the ground when we had the windstorm? Uh-oh. My poor Chrysler. It looks like it's crushed. I don't think I can bear to look. Well, I guess I could just run it off a cliff and tell Chrysler someone stole it. What a mess. Oh, my. Okay, I went down and got everything fixed. Looks like brand new, aside from a few specks of birdie poop. Okay, for the record, I'm just kidding. The car didn't really get crushed under a tree. It's just a stupid gag. So Chrysler, if you're watching, your car is still in mint condition. Perfect shape. And that brings us to the end of the video and end of our road test. If you're looking for a full-size American-type sedan and aren't too thrilled with the V6 offerings or front-wheel drive configurations, this is the one to get. The combination of rear-wheel drive and a strong, powerful V8 engine is a hard combination to resist. If you don't need the V8 power, that V6 is a good combination too. Take your pick. Now, if you want my idea of the ultimate Mopar, let's watch the video we did on the Dodge Challenger SRT. That's the one I hated giving back. And here's the link to watch that video test.